Okay, this is seventh grade lesson 4.2. This is actually day 2. Students will use a percent change formula to solve for a new amount. We'll also be working word problems in this lesson. The standards covered are 7RP3 and 7EE3. The page numbers out of the hardcover book are 164 through 169, and out of the practice journal, pages 93 through 96. Yesterday, we worked with finding a percent change. Today, we're going to be working kind of the opposite, where they're going to tell us how much it changed by percentage, and we're going to find that new amount. So yesterday, we had the two amounts, and we found out what the percent change was, whether it was an increase or a decrease. Today, they're going to give us an original amount and ask us to either increase it or decrease it by a certain percentage. So the key thing to remember is, in this, we're going to be doing some increasing or decreasing in our very first step. So here we have if we had an increase, so if it told us that a number increased by a certain percentage, we're going to add. So if we had an increase, we're going to go ahead and add 100% to that original percent. So that'll be our step in the very beginning, and then we'll change that percentage into its decimal form. If it says a percent decrease, well, we're going to go ahead and if it says a decrease, we're going to subtract that percentage from 100. So we're doing the front end instead of doing our adding or subtracting in the back end. Okay, I just think it's easier when we're working off of that 100% than to work with some numbers that are harder to add and subtract in the end. Okay, so here we have 8 meters is increased by 25%. So we see the word increased. So that means we're going to add 100% to this. Okay, because we had 100% and then it went up another 25%. So that now gives us a new percentage of 125%. So we want to find 125% of our 8. So we're going to be multiplying that by 8. So our decimal form is 1.25 times 8. So if we do that on our calculator, okay, so 1.25 times 8 gives me 10. So I just found out that 8 meters increased by 25% would now be 10 meters. Okay, so let's go ahead and try another one of those. So remember, if it says increase, we're going to add the 100%. And if it says decreased, we're going to subtract from 100 because it dropped that much. Okay, so this time it says decreased by 26%. So if it was decreased, we're going to take 100% and decrease it by 26. So we're going to subtract. So 100 minus the 26. And I know a very common made mistake here is kids will try and do this in their head and then they're off by 10. So make sure that you're double checking, maybe check with a partner or just use your calculator to do that. Make sure that you're getting the right number when you subtract. So when I subtract between these, I now get 74%. Okay, so I want to find 74% of, so times 50. So it becomes 0.74 times 50. Okay, 0.74 times 50 gives me 37. So if 50 points is decreased by 26, it's now only 37 points. Okay, let's try a couple more of those. So this time, 68 students is increased by 125%. So we see a percentage that's already greater than 100, but remember, it's increasing by that much. So we're going to still add 100. So if we add 100%, our new percentage is 225%. Of means times 68. So we're going to use 2.25. That's our decimal form of that times 68. Okay, so we should end up with a number that's much larger than 68. So 2.25 times 68 gives me, now I have 153 students. Okay, now let's try one more. Okay, so another decreased one. So when we decrease, we're going to subtract from 100%. So we want to take 100% minus 32%. So 100 minus 32 should give us 68. So we want 68% of 62. So we should get a number that's smaller than 62. So 0.68 times 62 gives us 42.16. Okay, 42.16. So if they had asked for the nearest kilogram, then you would say it's 42. Otherwise, you could leave your answer exactly as you see it. I would say if you get one of these where the answer has a lot of decimal places, maybe go to the nearest hundredth or the second decimal place, unless it specifically just says to round to the nearest number. So it's about 42 kilograms. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys two to try on your own. Okay, so try these two. Remember, if it says decreased, you subtract from 100. And if it says increased, you add 100. So go ahead and pause your video and work your way through these two. Okay, so for this first one, decreased was 100 minus that. So you want to figure out 60% of 180, so 0.6 times 180. You should have gotten 108 students. Okay, and on the next one, it was increased, so we should have added 100%. So we get 175% new. So we should have taken 1.75 times our 16, which gave us 28 meters. Okay, so that's working with finding a new amount when we're given a percent increase or decrease. The other part of this lesson is just working some word problems. So this is going to be kind of tying in stuff that we did yesterday and not just setting it up as like 10 inches to 25 inches, but maybe giving us a table or a graph to look at and using a word problem to find our percent increase or decrease. So here it says the table shows the number of hours that you spent online last weekend. What is the percent change? So they just want to know how much it changed in your online time from Saturday to Sunday. So this is where we're going to work like we did on day one. We're going to find how much it changed, divide it by the original amount. So original amount, I'm not sure what that is. Well, that would be Saturday would have come before Sunday. So that would be your original amount. Okay, so we want to find our percent change. So how much did it change here? Subtract between those two. So it changed 2.5 hours. Okay, our original, it doesn't tell us the original. We have to use some inferring here. So originally on Saturday, we spent 2 hours. So it's going to be our Saturday comes before Sunday. So that's going to be our original number. So we're going to use 2 as the bottom. Now we'll go ahead and change that. So 2.5 divided by 2 is going to give me 1.25 for my decimal, which would become 125%. Now, did it go up or down from Saturday to Sunday? It went up, so that would be a 125% increase. Okay, so this is working with stuff that we did yesterday, but now it's a word problem. So you're going to have to use a little bit more knowledge and understanding of that word problem. Okay. So this one, it says the bar graph shows a softball player's home run totals. What was the percent of change from 2007 to 2008? So looking at this, I'm focusing on these two pieces of information. Okay, I want to find how much it changed. So from 28 to 20, it changed 8. The original would have been the earlier year. Okay, so my original would be my 2007 number, which was 28. Okay, so there's my fraction. Now I'm going to go ahead and change that to its decimal. So 8 divided by 28 gives me 0.285. Okay, which would be 2 places about 29%. Now, was that an increase or a decrease? It went from 28 to 20. That would be a decrease. So about a 29% decrease. Okay, so you guys are going to try this next one on your own. It's the same graph, it's just going to be working with different years. Oops. Try this one on your own. So what was the percent change from 2005 to 2006. So go ahead and work that. You can pause your video, work your way through this one. Make sure that you write out your fraction, your decimal, your percent, and whether it was an increase or a decrease. So you should have gotten approximately a 44% decrease on this one. Okay, so that's just working with some word problems. Key thing on the word problems is making sure that you're identifying what was the original number. I know it's easy to find the change or how many points it changed, or in this case, how many home runs it changed. But making sure that you're going through and actually finding what was my original number. Okay, if I had worked from 2006 to 2007, then my original number would be the 2006 point. Okay, so here we can see it was an increase. It increased from 10 to 28, so we would use 18 change over 10, and then we would identify if it was an increase or a decrease based on, we started in 2006 and went to 2007. Okay, now you're not always going to have a graph, so then you may have to pay attention to the wording. The other part of this lesson, the key thing to remember is if you have the word increased, remember you're going to add 100% to the original number. And if you have decreased, then you're going to subtract that number from 100%. Good luck with this one, guys.